Hello and welcome to Croke Park for the new LGFA podcast, LGFA Talk Show. I'm joined by my fellow Learn to Lead participants, Bríd Stack, Cork great, All-Ireland multiple winner, and fellow All-Ireland winner, Michelle Ryan from Waterford, fellow Learn to Lead. So girls, we're just going to talk today all things football. We're going to talk things media, and we're going to talk about the launch that happened today in Croke Park of the championship. So we might just start with the LGFA Learn to Lead programme. We're really fortunate, the three of us, to be part of it. So Michelle, I just might start with you. Brief overview of what Learn to Lead is. We're the PR media strand, so just your thoughts, why you signed up, and what you're getting out of it so far.
Actually, do you know what? It was by chance that I actually got involved in this. I was involved in something else down in Waterford in a steering committee in the county board, and someone actually happened to mention it to me that because I brought up something to do with media and the coverage of ladies football down in Waterford, and someone happened to mention to me that there was something coming out in the ladies football in the next few months, and keep an eye out for it and apply for it. And my initial response was, no, I'm grand, I'm involved in enough now, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be at home one morning scrolling through Twitter, and this notification came up about the Learn to Lead programme. So just literally clicked into it, read a little bit about it, saw the different strands, and just something about the PR media just kind of interested me.
Would you have had an interest in PR media?
To be honest, other than doing maybe the odd radio interview just after matches and things like that, but would have enjoyed doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And thought it would just be a little bit of a challenge, to be honest. It was probably the strand that interested me the most, and said I'd apply and filled it in, I'd say within 10 or 15 minutes, and kind of just forgot about it.
Yeah.
And then, to be honest,
yeah.
forgot about it until I think I got a phone call in January or February, and an email, and then, met up with everybody. Had no clue who else was going to be on it.
No,
None.
I know.
No,
No,
I don't know about you.
Yeah, we were all saying
Yeah.
So it's like a blind date.
Yeah, exactly. I remember walking into the hotel that day and just seeing a group of people. When you see a group of people in a hotel, you're like, I don't know, am I supposed to be over there? And then I actually spotted Bríd. Yeah. I was like, well, thank God. Clung to her for about 5 minutes. And then look, sure, once we were all in the room chit-chatting, and we were all kind of in the same boat.
Yeah, and it was really professional from the offset. I felt like the photo shoot, and even the fact that the launch was in the marker, I think it said a lot. And what about you, Bríd? You signed up. You've a good bit of experience in PR and media.
Well, not really, but I suppose since retiring this year, I've kind of gotten a few opportunities from RT and from the Ladies Gaelic. So, but I'm still very much learning and still in the initial stages. So this just seemed like a perfect fit, to be honest. And when I saw the email, I just responded, and again, like Michelle, didn't think much of it. Didn't know who else was going to be in that position, and I suppose it was just I just find, even since I retired, I think it's important to give back to ladies football. I've gotten so much from ladies football for 14, 15 years. So I suppose I'd like to see the promotion of it keep going, because there was many years at the start where, ladies football wasn't getting any recognition.
They were depending on the same people to drive it on.
Yeah, and I
absolutely.
think, look, the bigger the group and kind of the more ideas that were flowing like over the last couple of months since we've started, I absolutely adore the group that we're in. It is like it is, and I know says the two women here beside me, but I do think it's just a fantastic group. And I suppose the fact that we did kind of know each other before coming in made it a lot easier to share ideas and get things flowing. And I've really, really enjoyed it, and I think it's very important to be self-aware, and I think this is definitely teaching me to be a bit more self-aware of
you just feel every day leaving the meetings or the seminars, you just feel uplifted.
You do, and empowered. And
really empowered. And we all have experience in leadership, but I just think those days they've just been extra special. And you've already alluded to it, our group is like, it's great crack. Basically we were all crying like within first 3 hours of meeting each other, emotional wrecks. But it just set the tone for it was going to be a really tight knit group, and it has been.
It has been. I think everyone wants to be part of our group. But
Well, we might have to cut that, but
like it's kind of ingenious the way the ladies football have kind of set it up, to be fair, because like it's giving us an opportunity to develop personally, but also with the various strands that are set up. Like you're acquiring new skills while also giving back to the association. Like that's definitely one of the reasons I signed up as well. Yeah. Like it's been these football have been such a forefront in all our lives. In all our lives, you know, in all our lives, and we've gotten so much from it. And to be able to, I suppose, stay involved in that in some capacity while also giving back, and also just like learning a little bit about yourselves.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, that first day when we were,
I think we all pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone as well. Absolutely. And I think you have to do that. Yeah. In any facet of life, you have to push yourself a small bit, and that definitely was a big eye-opener. It happened. It happened by absolute crowbarring ourselves into that position. Yeah, so it was brilliant.
I suppose highlights for me was definitely Mary McAleese. And we spoke about it even today, and you were really able to relate to her on such a personal level. I mean, I could have sat and listened to her all day.
I think we were all saying,
and just to hear her story and being able to relate to parts of it, I thought was incredible. Did anything else stand out for you, say in terms of who delivered or what you've learned so far?
Like definitely I've taken something away from every single day. I have been very fortunate to be paired up with Jackie Hurley as well, who is just a fantastic person to have in your corner. And, you know, she really does kind of, I suppose, cut through things with a knife, which is, I suppose, what you want.
That's what you want.
Yeah, you want. And I think she has been fantastic for me anyway, going forward. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and like I know we've kind of alluded to already, but like, to be honest, I personally would have been very nervous starting this whole thing off. Day one was such, I'll actually never forget it, to be honest, and just how everybody bonded, and even the speakers that have come in, I've taken something small from each one of them.
That's it.
I mean, it really has, like, no matter whether it was Pedro or whether it was Neve or whether it was, you know, exactly. They all have brought something, and even in the second day, you know, it was kind of reinforcing things that we learned and gone through on the first day. It was just incredible. But like, I suppose some of the opportunities that have come from it have been amazing. Incredible.
Yeah. Even
they
today,
really have.
Like even today, we'd all said we haven't been at a launch in years, and just being part of it has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, that's true. Exactly, it's fantastic. And you know, like the mentors, you know, when you hear that you're going to be partnered up with a mentor, and you're kind of wondering, okay, who? But like the people that we're involved in, like, you know, like you.
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate.
And like I've got Grania McIlwain, who is
top
probably
of their game,
but they're people at the forefront of women's sport.
You know, and they know exactly what they're talking about. They couldn't be more helpful. Yeah. You know, they really genuinely couldn't. They're fantastic, and you know, they're just helping us along this journey. You know, they really, really are. So it's hard to actually pick out one highlight. Yeah. I really am thoroughly enjoying all of it so far. It's been amazing.
Amazing. Well, look, we could talk about it all day, but we'll move on. So we're going to look at football, and today we're at the launch of the 2019 All-Ireland Ladies Football Championship here in Croke Park. There was a huge media presence. There were Q&As that we were involved in. There were managers, there were players. It was just a really brilliant buzz about the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the matches coming up this weekend. So we're going to start with the junior matches. And I might start with you, Bríd.
Yep.
With
Derry and Antrim.
Derry and Antrim in Group B. So I suppose looking at the junior setup this year, there's only 2 groups, 3 teams in each group. Mm-hmm. It's always a very tight championship with very little between the teams, but you often see the same teams year after year. So looking at Derry and Antrim this weekend, what do you think, and who are you tipping?
Yeah, I suppose Antrim may be coming off the back of an Ulster title. You know,
great win against Fermanagh.
super win, and probably, you know, weren't tipped, like they were probably going in as underdogs. But you know, this is an Antrim team now that are young, they're vibrant, they have no fear, and you know, that's the type of football that we love to see.
Even us sitting with them at the table today at the launch, and they were delighted with themselves.
Absolutely true.
And you could see that the confidence is there.
The confidence there, and like I suppose we were talking about earlier in the day, like momentum is a ferocious thing, and you know, they're going in now off the back of a fantastic win. They met Derry already, I think, in the Ulster semi-final, had a comprehensive win over them. So I suppose you couldn't really look past Antrim on their first day out. But definitely need to just build on what they've achieved so far.
Very good. And you would have tipped Antrim, I think, for the junior today, did you?
I did.
Go all the way?
Yeah, okay. I did. So we'll see. Don't let me down now, lads.
And then Group A, we have Carlow and Louth, a rematch of the recent Leinster final. Michelle, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, to be honest, Carlow will probably be a bit disappointed with the Leinster final, and as far as I'm aware, they were missing a few players on that day compared to what they would have had available to them coming up to that. But look, Louth, you have to admit, would be favourites. I mean, they're in fairness, they are last year's All-Ireland finalists. They're a pretty impressive outfit, very dangerous going forward.
Won the league.
Exactly. They, I suppose, in Lauren Boyle, they had a girl who scored 1-7, you know, and so they are very clinical going forward, are very dangerous going forward. The only thing maybe that they will need to be aware of is that they'll have to be pretty disciplined in defence, because in Carlow and Clonanihea they have a very accurate free taker.
7 points.
7 points from frees in the last 8, you know. So look, it'll be an interesting battle. Carlow definitely will be out to, I suppose.
Yeah, they're at home as well, so you never know.
Exactly, and they'll be out to, you know, to show that maybe that Leinster final was a bit of a blip, like, you know, and in the All-Ireland series they have a chance to make up for it now. But it's probably hard to see past Louth, to be fair. It really is.
They're my tip for the juniors, so so we'll move on to the intermediate matches taking place this weekend. And we spoke earlier, the talent in the intermediate championship this year, it's like there's very little between 3 or 4 teams. So this weekend we have a few crackers. We'll come to them in a second, but we'll start off with Group 1. We've Down playing Sligo. Michelle, thoughts on that?
Looking at it, to be honest, and even when we were intermediate, we would have come up against Sligo on a number of occasions.
They've kind of been around for so long, haven't they?
And they actually beat us in a Division 3 final as well, do you know. So they're always there and thereabouts. They're a tough team to put away,
they're always
to be honest.
Physical.
Yeah, exactly.
Donegal, we used to play them back in the day, and they were so physical.
Exactly, and have such an excellent keeper in Noel Gormley. I mean, fantastic keeper.
It's great to see her back as well.
Exactly, absolutely brilliant. Look, Down, I suppose, you know, they didn't finish all that well in the league.
Yeah, they would be disappointed.
Exactly, and Sligo, look, as we said, reached the Division 3 final. They were beaten by Meath
comprehensively. Would they be disappointed with?
They would be disappointed
and they
with
want to prove a point.
Exactly. I don't think their performance was probably reflective of the Sligo team that's there. I mean, you have the likes of Katie Welch in the forwards, who is just it's just such an eye for goal.
Goal she got,
such an eye for goal and an incredible ability to get a score. And look, right throughout the team, they do have the experience mixed with the little bit of youth
Mulligan
as well.
Back for them this year.
Exactly. So
that woman never I played college football with her, and that's not yesterday, today.
No. But looking at it, you'd have to fancy Sligo, to be honest. Yeah.
Absolutely. And still in Group 1, Limerick and Kildare. Bríd, thoughts on that?
I suppose Limerick probably making the step up there, from junior last year, won a junior All-Ireland. Absolutely fantastic for the county, you know, to get up into intermediate status.
You'd wonder though, to have a few players stepped away maybe, and has it done them a disservice perhaps?
Exactly. And I suppose looking at Kildare, played Division 3 football this year, retained their status. I think maybe 3 wins I think they had in the league. They were kind of find themselves in a bit of a relegation dogfight, but they pulled through when it mattered. When it mattered. So I suppose just going on that, maybe Kildare have that little bit more I suppose stability in the the division that they've been playing, and I remember playing Kildare a couple of years ago. Physically imposing, great footballers. And I just think that'll stand to them.
There's
going
a good tradition there in Kildare. There really is. I remember they were our nemesis when we were junior football 03 or 04, which again is neither today nor yesterday. But they've maintained that, it was disappointing to see them go down to intermediate and see them go to Division 3. So you'd hope that they'll use even the group stage. You'd maybe expect them to get out of that group to start building properly again. Very good underage structure in Kildare as well. They've been beating Dublin here and there, and under 14 Leinster's, under 16. So I could
just
see
comes
Kildare,
in waves and cycles.
If they can hold this intermediate status and compete, you'll see a brilliant bunch of players coming through, and hopefully we'll have another senior team in Leinster.
Exactly, Well, I would be tipping them anyway versus Limerick.
Brilliant. So I suppose the tie of the weekend for me, Tipperary and Meath. Meath coming off the back of a really disappointing Leinster final result for them. Whether they were missing a few players, possibly, I'm not sure. And then Tipperary, just been so good, so entertaining in Division 1 this year. I just loved watching them. They absolutely brilliant. So Tip at home, it's hard not to back them.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, this is definitely the match to kind of watch out of this weekend for the intermediate. Tipperary, I mean, what can you say about Tipperary, to be honest? I mean, I know they were very disappointed to be relegated last year.
That's for another day's conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Actually, the tip keeper is our club keeper at home. So, you know, and obviously we come across them in club and we come across them county, obviously, regularly enough. So, they were very disappointed to be relegated. And like, maybe people might, at the start of the 2018 league, might have been expecting that they might have been, you know, having gone up to Division 1 straight, come out of Division 1.
Yeah,
but to retain that status and be as competitive, to be as competitive as they were.
They put the fear of God into so many top teams.
Exactly. But they have that fearlessness. They really do have that fearlessness. And then you take the likes of Aisling Maloney and then Aisling McCarthy coming back now from Australia, you know, like, just slot straight in. Samantha Lambert there a long
Maria
time.
Curley and cornerback.
Exactly. They really do have fantastic players. It'll be interesting to see now against Meath, because Meath are a strong up and coming team.
They're runners.
They are, and they have
power
power going forward, and they. I'd be interested to see how the tip backs actually hold the Meath forwards now, to be honest. I really would.
And what I'd say about that, I suppose, if Tip managed to do that, Meath, for me at the minute, they're quite one-dimensional. They're young players. They'll just take the ball and they'll run with it. Yeah. When you stop that running, will there be a plan B for Meath? I don't know. It may be a bit too early for them in the championship.
Like, I mean, the amount of times Aisling Maloney has gone for a throw-in and straight from the throw-in has headed straight for goal. I mean,
against top quality players.
Top quality
she's
players.
No fear.
Exactly. So, look, I would be tipping Tip, but at the same time, I'm expecting a cracking game. A cracking game, a tough battle.
Staying with Group 2, we have Longford and Wicklow, and Longford have home advantage. They would have come across each other in the league as well. Bríd, thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I suppose we were just looking at their league, both playing Division 3 football. Again, probably a very hard one to call again. Longford probably just finished just above Wicklow in the league. But Longford definitely have a bit more over Wicklow. I think they comfortably beat them.
They had good momentum coming into the end of that league campaign as well.
And at the end of the league, like the last game of the league, I think they beat them 120 to 1-7. It was fairly comprehensive. What else do we identify? That Longford, really put it up to Meath in the semi-final. Yeah. So, they
scored, I think it was 3-10 or something against Meath, which
is no mean feat, and any team that's scoring 3-10, is definitely one to be watched. Yeah. So I suppose, I would definitely tip Longford coming into the weekend,
And then Group 3 and Group 4, so both of these groups only have 3 teams, so we only have one fixture this weekend in each. So we have Clare and Wexford, which again I think will be a cracker.
Definitely.
Michelle?
Definitely another game to watch. Clare are just this team that have always been kind of there and thereabouts. And even, anytime we even would have lined out against them, they could throw anything at you. Anything at you. They really are. They're very, very physical. And then you mix that with the speed that Nivo D brings into that attack.
Class act.
Absolutely. You really have to be on your toes when you're playing against the likes of Nivo D, because I mean, this is a girl who can get a free on the 21 and go for goal if you're not ready for it.
I always think there's striking similarities between herself and Geraldine McLaughlin from Donegal. Even their stature, both feet, their speed, their ability. Go for the juggler, ability to score from anywhere.
Absolutely. So look, they do have a lot of experience. Now they'll be disappointed with their Munster final display against Tip. Tip were just on fire, to be honest. But I suppose if you look at the match even before that, I know Aisling Maloney was missing for the first round of the Munster Championship against Clare. I think it finished 2-15 Tip, 2-11 Clare. So, like,
it speaks volumes of her influence.
It does. It speaks volumes of her influence. But with regards to Clare, like, seeing them up against Wexford now will be very interesting.
Because I think that'll tell a lot of where the intermediate's going and who is going to be competitive.
Yeah, like Wexford will be full of confidence after their Leinster Championship win. Will have beaten Meath, who people would have felt were favourites. Have a nice bit of experience in there, and the likes of, we'll say, Fiona Rochford, who's a very good free taker as well. And just they were very. I was there for most of the second half of that game.
Defensively, they were very well set up.
They were very well set up. They really were, and they handled the threat of the Meath forwards very, very well. And on the counter attack, they really moved the ball efficiently and were very efficient in their score taking.
And they have a brilliant keeper, Wexford. keeper
yes, Mary Rose
fantastic.
Kelly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So look, that's going to be another. To be honest, it's a tough one to call.
Well, yeah, I actually have here. I actually can't call that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you were to push me,
we'll push
me,
you then. We'll push you.
Maybe Clare.
Maybe
Clare, but by the smallest of margins, I'd say.
And then I suppose waiting for both of those teams, we have Laois, who will be very competitive as well. Mm-hmm. And then Group 4, waiting in the wings will be Offaly. And this weekend we have the Connacht matchup of Roscommon and Leitrim. Bríd's thoughts on that?
I suppose, look, Roscommon had a very, very good league. And I suppose we're very unfortunate to lose out to Sligo in the semi-final stage after a very, very good league. But then came back in Connacht and in the Connacht final just absolutely blew Sligo away. Absolutely blew them with
just shows us like the league, and we do go a lot on the league and we make our predictions in the league, but when it comes to championship it's just
there's a lot of hard work being done there and a lot of belief being instilled there anyway between the end of the league and the start of that championship, because it was a really, really comprehensive display from Roscommon. So again, they will be going
They'll be
on top
a factor.
Very much so.
And I mean, looking at that group, you'd really favour Roscommon to come out on top of that group. So great. Well, that's our intermediate. We will now move on to our senior matches this weekend. Some really exciting matches coming up. July 13th, 14th this weekend. In Group 1 we have Cavan v Armagh, which for me is probably a winner or die situation for both teams. Like it's a huge match. So I'll throw it out there. Not even predictions, just I suppose thoughts on the game. I suppose I'd be looking at Cavan would have been so disappointed
and they would have been
not
so
to get over
close.
Donegal. There were a number of sin bins. I think they had 4 sin bins in that match. Donegal got a last minute equaliser and then pulled away in extra time. But then again, Armagh would have been training for that Ulster final. Cavan wouldn't have had a competitive championship match previous to the Donegal match. So it's it's up there, but it's really important because in that group as well we have Cork. So
Cavan, to be honest, are a pretty dogged team. They really are. I mean, since
you'd have loads of experience,
so much experience since we were in the
there
intermediate championship.
In those games,
oh my god! Since we were relegated to the intermediate in 2009, and the amount of times we came across each other and actually knocked each other out of championship. From then on, so there would have been a nice healthy rivalry between the two over the years. But and again, obviously we met each other in the league semi-final this year. And again, look, they're just a very dogged team, and even like 7 points. If they're 7 points down, 8 points down, it doesn't matter. They don't see
the relegation
it.
match last year against
it means nothing. It means nothing. You cannot afford to fall asleep playing against Cavan because they do have such a threat with the likes of Aisling Sheridan and Aisling Maguire. So accurate from frees, but also
Donna English in midfield.
Absolutely, Trojan work. They really do. So I think it could be a tough one for Armagh, to be honest.
It is a real banana skin, definitely for Armagh.
And then both teams obviously facing into a Cork.
I know.
Cork match.
So it's a must win. It's a must win game, really.
I'd probably tip Cavan as well, myself. But we'll move on to Group 2. Dublin and Waterford. So Michelle,
what do you think, Michelle?
Well, just I suppose yourself this week. Great distraction today, obviously, but it'll be back home to Waterford. It'll be back to training. How are you preparing? Do you do things differently when it comes to championship, or is it just keep going, keep tipping away?
Do you know what? Normally people would say, there's a big difference between league and championship, and maybe don't read too much into league going into championship. At the end of the day, that's what you're fully preparing for. And you were just saying there, about the weeks that exist between league and championship. A lot can happen. But I suppose in our case, however, our league final finished, and 6 days later we were playing championship. So our league
seamless nearly.
Yeah, exactly. There, our league provided us with a good, I suppose, basis to enter into championship. Now, we got over Kerry in the Munster Championship.
Brilliantly.
Met Cork. Look, to be honest, the first day out against Cork, we were let's be honest. To be honest, we were blitzed, and we were kind of taught a lesson,
Which you
but
definitely learned.
But we did. We did kind of go back to the drawing board a little bit and set out our stall a little bit differently in the Munster final. And look, it was improvement in performance. Not much, I suppose at the end of the day, all that matters is on the scoreboard, and it just goes to show the strength that Cork are, to be honest. Really were very impressive. But look, over the last number of weeks, we've just had to, I suppose, to go back again, look at that performance against Cork. I mean, you're going from playing 2 matches against Cork into a match now against Dublin, so you want to be pitching yourself against the best.
Absolutely.
I suppose 2017 we reached a quarter-final and were knocked out by Dublin. And when we looked, I know the scoreboard mightn't have reflected, but when we looked at our stats, we actually looked at our stats after that game. And there were just certain areas where we really were matching.
Oh, you were? Yeah, I remember watching it.
But look, at the end of the day, we're now coming into them, and they're twice All-Ireland champions, and they will be overwhelming favourites, obviously. But look, we've nothing to lose. We'll just have to set out our stall as best as we possibly can. Possibility that we might be missing a player just due to the clash between A's Football and Camogie, which is a little bit frustrating for both her and for us. Yeah. But look, as I said, we'll just approach it as best we can. This week is more kind of about recovery ticking over. Do you know what I mean? All the hard work has been done the last few weeks, so looking forward to it.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not often you get to play the All-Ireland Champions.
Exactly.
They're coming off a good Leinster final performance.
Yeah.
But I mean, as you said, look, take the opportunity, and you never know.
It's something to be relished, and
absolutely.
I think every team, you
lift yourself for the big games.
Exactly. Like, you want to pit yourself against the best, and I suppose in the initial stages,
so many years.
No, but in the initial stages, we absolutely adored being underdogs. Absolutely adored it. And granted, you might be going in as underdogs, but like that first half against Cork in the Munster final, ye held, ye pressed, ye pushed really hard, and it did. Like, Cork were asked a lot of questions, and they were asked a lot of questions, and they weren't allowed to play the free flowing football that they were capable of. So there's definitely potential there in Waterford. Like, just I suppose it's really going to have to be a question of self belief on the day, and just trying to drive forward for as much as possible of that of that game.
And we wish you the best.
Yeah.
So then Group 3, again, this is live on TG4 at 1:45. And just to note, the Dublin-Waterford game is also live on TG4 at 3:30. Galway v Kerry. Galway have the form, they have the momentum, home advantage. They have 2 Connacht finals behind them, comprehensive win in the replay. They looked really, really sharp. What are we thinking? Have Kerry got themselves back together since Munster, since a disappointing league final, or is it going to be a case that Galway are going to win this, easily? I
suppose, look, Kerry now have had a long time now to prepare, and Kerry are such a traditional footballing side. But is it too much of a jump? Like, are they missing just those? Like, they're probably missing about 3 players. Like, they just need those 3-4 players to really lift and drive the group, because I suppose they are a lot younger group than the Kerry team that we would have seen.
Actually, aren't they?
Yeah. Like, they still have immense talent and great experience, but they're probably just missing those 3 or 4 older players.
Steady the ship when it needs to be steady.
Who they would have
make
before
decisions.
in Emma Sherwood, and who they would have had, down through the years, even goalkeepers, Adele Murphy. You just need that small little bit of experience, and I think it will take a while for this Kerry team to get back up, but they have fantastic talent coming through. Like Hannah O'Donoghue has proven herself to be a great talent. I absolutely loved watching her as well in the O'Connor Cup final. So I suppose there is still a bit of rebuilding.
The future's bright.
It is, but whether they have had a chance to do that over the last couple of weeks and done a lot of strength, a lot of conditioning, a lot of fitness, seems, I'm not sure if they have enough people in their stall there to get them over the line.
Galway.
Overcoming Galway, and a Galway team as well who have had 2 good competitive games now. Granted, they always only ever had the 1 game against Mayo, but that replay will stand to Galway going forward. It was, they learned so much, I think, from that first day, and Galway now are learning to put away teams. And I think they needed to learn that. And could we be seeing a Galway team now that can drive us, to the very end? They need to finish and put away teams.
And actually, one of the things that struck me about that Galway replay was the composure of the Galway players when they
may have been missing in the last couple of years.
It
Even
really
the league
was.
final, you could argue.
Like we say in the drawing game, Mayo would have packed their defence, and Galway were finding it very hard to break through, and maybe were spitting ball. Now the conditions were atrocious that first day, but the second day, their composure to work the ball across the field, back the field, hold on to it, go back, set up, then wait for those players to be running off the shoulders and break through that Mayo defence really, really was impressive. It was, and they were working very hard. They had identified obviously the threat of Rachel Kearns the first day and had put a plan in place exactly, and were working very hard to get back to put players in front of her, and it was working really, really hard. So I
you have to compliment the management team there as well, because obviously a huge amount of time was spent on analysis. A plan was put in place. It was delivered to the players, and everybody was singing from the same hymn sheet to deliver a Connacht title. And I suppose we spoke earlier, that's their 7th out of 8 Connacht title, which is really hard to believe. 3rd in a row. So I suppose the question, which brings me on to the next match, we have Tyrone and Mayo. Have Mayo kind of just been slipping in there to the group stages or the quarterfinals without anybody really, not being critical of them, but, they haven't won a Connacht in 4 years now. Yeah. What's the future for Mayo?
Yeah, really? I suppose, look, for years, like we've had so many down battles with Mayo down through the years. They were a bogey team for a long time. You never knew what to expect of Mayo. You always had to be prepared to be slumping off the field with bumps and bruises everywhere, because they were so dogged and so tough. Granted, they've gone through a transition. They've lost a few players. But in saying that, Peter Leahy, like that first day out versus Galway, I was looking at this team going, this team have absolutely no fear. They're young, they're going for the jugular. They made plenty of mistakes, but they still went at Galway time and time again. And I suppose, if you can develop that heart, and look, it might take a couple of years, but if the structures are there, the foundations and there seems to be, I suppose a good relationship now as well with the Mayo County Board. Like, if everyone is rowing behind that team, if
they're all going in the one direction, maybe things. Yeah,
and they do. They have stalwarts that have been there for many years. They know what it takes, and but maybe I think they're just a little bit too young at the moment. But give them a couple of years, and this Mayo team could be a force to be reckoned with.
You'd hope that no more of them are going to go to Australia, because they've already lost Sarah Rowe, the Kellys.
Now, granted,
they'll be back for championship, I suppose. But
I suppose, look, that's a conversation for another day. Absolutely. The more players that are going over, does that mean that the tournament is going to go on longer over? Is it going to eat into more championship? We can talk about that another day.
It is a worry, but it's definitely something
there. And look, injury worries, like you saw the injury that Cora picked up over, so it's a tougher game. But
and Donegal have lost Yvonne McMonigal completely. This year she hasn't been back. So no, we'll touch on it again. Yeah. So we'll move on now and just look at the 4 senior groups, I suppose, in a bit more detail. And possibly predictions for places. Michelle, you can abstain from this if you want.
Thanks very much.
From Group 2, but every other one will be looking for a bit of input. So we'll start with Group 1. We have Cavan, Armagh and Cork. Who is going to come out of it, and who is going to be up for a relegation playoff? What are your thoughts, girls?
I suppose, look, given their form, you couldn't look past Cork coming out on top of that group. I suppose, look, they've met Armagh a good few times now in the past, and have come over them fairly comprehensively. I think the big battle is going to be between Cavan and Armagh. Yeah. And I think this weekend, that first game out is going to be, as you said, it's going to be absolutely vital. And look, there'll be no holding back, you can imagine, between either of those two teams. But for me, Cork to come out on top, and second to come out in that group, I'm going to tip Cavan. Yeah. I think Cavan have to come out on top. Yeah.
I do. And I
so that'll be my 1 and 2.
I don't think Cavan are going to want to be in a position that they were in last year, having competed so well, really, I felt, throughout the championship. And they were kind of the forgotten team with the whole debacle with Mayo last year. It's not Mayo's fault, but Cavan had a really tough group, and they were up against, I think, Dublin and a resurgent Mayo who wanted to prove a point. Yeah. And then the next thing, they found themselves in a relegation battle. So I could see them really, really going for that second spot.
I think they'll want to go route 1.
And they're a lovely footballing team, Cavan. And I suppose you have the bit of history with Daly, the Cavan manager, used to manage Armagh. So, there's a good bit there. So Group 2, we have Dublin, Michelle's Waterford and Monaghan. Bríd, myself and yourself might talk about this one again.
I'll block my ears.
We spoke, I suppose, about the Dublin-Waterford game this weekend. I think it's going to be a great game, great opportunity for Waterford, but Dublin are the All-Ireland champions, and let's be honest, they have some fantastic players.
They have talent and
you've had plenty
abundance.
Of now at this
point.
point.
Exactly. Yeah. And look, Dublin know how to win. They know how to seal out games. I couldn't look past Dublin coming out on top of that group. I suppose, look, it does kind of come down to Waterford and Monaghan. Fortunately, Monaghan are, I suppose, they're not the team of old at the moment. Yeah, they're just finding it very, very difficult. Yeah. And they've had a lot of very, very key players step away in the last few years. And I suppose it's very unfortunate to see, because they were stalwarts. Like we played them in two.
Remember from
and we played them in 2 All-Ireland finals not so long ago.
Not so long ago at all.
And only beat one, Katrina McConnell's last minute
and you'd
kick.
Wonder, had that gone differently from Monaghan, would
what
there have
could
been
have
an upsurge? Would they find themselves where they are now? But what I would say about Monaghan, there's great drive underage there. The Kindlins have the under-14 team, competed really well in the under-14
Could you
championship.
have anyone more kind of
imagine the Kindlins being your manager, like
I'd say down the back of the bus with a bag of sweets as well, like the two of them happy out,
which is brilliant. And then obviously we have Waterford, so we're thinking Dublin and probably Waterford.
I would say Dublin and Waterford to come out of that group. I just think Waterford, they they're great footballers. I think they really put it up to
lovely mix this year,
beating Kerry. Like they're they still have fantastic experience, obviously, in some of the older girls, but just their younger girls seem to be looking up to that experience and driving forward.
Brilliant.
And I would tip Dublin and Waterford to come out of that group.
So group 3, then we've an interesting group again: Galway, Kerry, and Westmeath. I think we can all agree that Galway will more than likely top that group. We've discussed their Connacht final and their league already. So then it's a battle for second place, Westmeath and Kerry. I mean,
I actually think that's going to be a very interesting game. I really do. Just having played against Kerry and having been at the
Westmeath, Dublin,
the Leinster final, and just being very impressed with how Westmeath set up to tackle Dublin and how long they put Dublin under savage pressure.
Huge pressure,
and even throughout that second half. And at times when they were counter-attacking, they did look very dangerous.
Very dangerous,
and took some fine scores. They used the wind to their advantage at the time and took some fine scores. I think it's going to be a really interesting.
It's a tough one to call.
It really is. Now Kerry again. Look, there's no, as Bríd said already, there's no doubting the talent that they have within their squad. Their forwards are very, very dangerous. And I suppose, in maybe 1 or 2 of the matches against us, they would have rued some of the chances that they had. I mean, let's be honest, in the league final, like we had everything that could possibly go for us, as well as playing,
taking your chances,
as well as performing
very well.
We also had luck on our side. I mean, how many balls were taken off the end line or came off post or the goal line, or came back off post, and Kerry would have looked at that, and obviously then they would have had a missed penalty against us in the Munster Championship. They're very good and dangerous at creating scoring chances. So if they bring that form, even with having had a few weeks training on top of that, into the Westmeath game, it'll be very interesting to see, because Westmeath, if they set up as defensively as they did against Dublin, it'll be interesting to see how that kind of pans out.
Yeah, I just hope for Westmeath, because obviously I'd coached Westmeath for 2 years, and a great team. I just hope for them that they use that brilliant performance against Dublin to their advantage, and they don't, I suppose, get bogged down in the loss, and that they look forward to this group, because they have a real chance. They really do. They're well set up. I love Fiona Claffey at centre back. I just think when you're set up defensively, so compact as they are, and you have the pace of Fiona Claffey coming out of the back line, you're always in with the chance. So I'd be hoping, fingers crossed, for Westmeath to come out of that. And then group 4, my own Donegal, Mayo and Tyrone. A tasty group. I mean...
It is that definitely is.
I think that's the group of I wouldn't say the group of death, but I think the group of football.
Yeah, it is.
I think we're going to see some really brilliant football,
really, really good football.
The youth, the Tyrone, you have the youth again of Mayo, and you have. I just feel at the minute the brilliance of Donegal. I just feel they're really, really on an upward trajectory.
Yeah. So. I just think Donegal this year, I suppose, since Max Kern came on board, they just seem to be a crowd that are just going for the jugular. I suppose in the last couple of years with Donegal, they have started off 1,000,000 miles an hour and have maybe tapered off. And I would just love to see Donegal carry this far, getting and peaking at the right time and going through. And I suppose doing themselves justice is the big thing, because in the last couple of years, I've just found that, they peak really, really soon, and then it kind of tapers off. So I'd love to see, them carry through, the Ulster final performance that they did, carry this into championship and just... see, I suppose, where they really are.
That performance against Dublin in the league.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see that kind of football.
In Croke Park.
In Croke Park.
Yeah.
Kick it. I just love how Donegal kick the ball.
Yeah.
There's no fear. They back themselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you have Gerda McLaughlin lobbing keepers from
and her influence,
the 45, it's massive.
It's absolutely
and Karen
huge.
Guthrie as well. What a leader.
Karen,
absolutely outstanding,
and the loveliest girl.
She's a fabulous person, and you can see how she brings everyone on with her. Like, she's a real.
You couldn't but follow her
to be as your captain.
But so genuine, so passionate, and a real Donegal woman. Like I love her for that. So Donegal to top the group anyway. I'm bullying you into that.
It's definitely I really am looking forward to seeing this Donegal Mayo game and seeing how that peters out.
The last game of the group.
I know. It's just gonna.
That's to avoid your good selves as well, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, true. So, geez, I don't know. I suppose. Going on provincial final, you'd have to put Donegal number 1, but this Mayo team are dogged, and if they come up with the goods, and they like the rough and tumble with Donegal as well. They'll love that. They'll relish that.
And past histories, Mayo probably have won the last few, and I suppose not to forget Tyrone. Lovely young team, straight up from intermediate. Pushed Donegal to the max a couple of weeks ago in Ulster.
4 points, I think, was in between.
And I mean, Donegal needed a surge at the end. Tyrone kept coming back at them. So, not to forget them. They could cause an upset.
And exactly. I think it'll be interesting to see them against Mayo, because they're some very young players, lively players in both setups. So it'll be interesting to see the matchups there and how they work off each other, I suppose, and deal with each other. But I do think Tyrone, will put it up to the likes of Mayo.
They're not going to lie down and just let this be a Mayo Donegal fighting it out for first.
Not at all.
So yes, some brilliant matches ahead, which I suppose brings us to the big announcement today at the launch. Incredible stuff. It was announced to everybody that the 2 semi-finals are going to be played as a double header in Croke Park on the 25th of August. Incredible. I mean, just incredible for the LGFA, incredible for women's football. Thoughts? I'd say you wish you were still playing. I know I do. Another day in Croke Park. Michelle, so much for you to aim for.
No, look, I suppose, that's where you want to play. That's where you want to be. And for the semi-finals to be in there now this year, it's a massive move for the ladies' football. And I suppose, if you look back even in the last 5 years, it's been Cork, Dublin predominantly in the last 4 out of 5 All-Irelands. Mayo and Dublin there in an All-Ireland final, obviously, just 2 years ago. But, to get that chance to get in there and play, I can imagine Donegal, were probably reeling for a good bit after it, the chance to play there. But to play there in an All-Ireland semi-final, to play there, the heated championship, when amazing. You're at your top fitness, it's where you want to play, definitely. So it's just going to be fantastic for whatever 4 get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I suppose as when you're growing up and you're playing football and knowing that ladies football finals have always been in Croke Park, it's just you want to get to another Ireland final and you want to get to play in Croke Park. But now it just shows, I suppose, the work that goes on behind the scenes and how innovative and how forward thinking and how driven the association is to just keep progressing and expand our games. And semi-finals in Croke Park is a huge deal. It really is a huge deal, and it just shows where the game is going. And it makes a true occasion of it. Not that it wasn't an occasion already, but it just no doubt a lot of work went on behind the scenes to actually organise that
the negotiations
put that in place. It really is. But look, it's a fantastic opportunity. It really, really is.
And having the 2 semi-finals as well, one after another. I suppose we haven't had that in a couple of years. Semi-finals have always been kept separate. So when you have 2 quality games, you're really showcasing the best of ladies football.
And I suppose the onus on ourselves now as supporters is to be there.
Exactly.
To be there to ensure that the crowd is there, that the teams are well supported, and that it becomes an annual thing, because we don't want a half full Croke Park. We want a big crowd for the day. So look, that's, I suppose, a wrap up. Just to finish off, something that we're going to hopefully do every time we film this podcast is just to ask the guests to perhaps tell a story if they were on a certain TV programme and there was a red chair story that they could share with everybody. I think, Bríd, you're going to share your red shocker.
No.
Shocker. Your red chair story.
Given
it's always going to be football orientated.
Football, keep it clean. So I suppose, look, a couple of years ago we played Laois in a league game. I suppose, look, we were in a good enough position, but the match was on in Cretty Yard. Didn't really know where Cretty Yard was.
Sue Ramsbottom's from Cretty Yard.
Sue Ramsbottom. I found out afterwards. We'll never forget Cretty Yard again.
Is there a statue of Sue in Cretty Yard?
But I was coming from a wedding or something like this anyway. So I texted Eamon and told him that I would drive to the match. So at the time I was driving a lovely little cream Mini and drove on to the match anyway. And as it turns out, the Cork bus was about 2 hours early as well. Justin McCarthy would have been a devil for time management and definitely overestimated how far Credit Yard was from Cork. So we landed early anyway, and I suppose unlike, normal professional teams who would maybe go for a walk, stretch out, do this foam rolling thing that people were all on about at the time, we decided we'd try and see how many of the panel we could fit into the Mini. And I suppose, we got about 17 of us into the Mini, but there was legs, arms everywhere. Yeah, I think there was about 3 heads out the sunroof, and Eamon just turned the corner and saw an exhibition of clowns in a car and just shook his head, and lo and behold we went on anyway and we lost the game to Laois. So I got a gentle reminder from Eamon to never ever drive my Mini to match again. So that learned me fairly quickly.
If we had a red chair, I think you'd get to stay on the red chair for that. So
I'd say Eamon would have pulled it long ago.
Brilliant. So look, on that note, we'll finish. I'd just like to congratulate the LGFA on an amazing launch of the championship today. We wish them, the players, the management, everybody, the very best of luck for the rest of the year. I'd like to thank Bríd and Michelle for joining me here today. And we hope that everybody gets out for the rest of the year and supports all the matches and supports your county.